cost me $3,000 tonight. I don't think I like the way you did it.
I don't think I like your implication, Mr. Russell.
Never mind. My injured feelings can be healed easily under the right circumstances. You know, in the past, I've always enjoyed my trips to St. Louis. I don't see why this should be an exception, do you?
You were wrong about how you lost your $3,000, Mr. Russell. You're just as wrong about me. Why don't you go back to New York and heal your wounds before you make a third mistake?
I don't think I made a mistake on either count.
That you brought your saddle, Tiny. You won't need it in Denver.
Well, I don't know about that, Mr. Rockford. I got sort of a special problem when it comes to saddles. What I mean is, it's kind of hard to find one in the livery stable that's
big enough?
Well, that's exactly what I mean, Mr. Rockford. A regular-sized saddle is to me like a pony saddle would be to you.
Well, you won't need it anyway, Tiny. We're going to be riding in carriages in Denver. It's a big city.
No fool.
Yes, sir. We're going to be living in style for the next couple of weeks or so.
Mr. Rockford, I sure do thank you for bringing me along to meet them cattle buyers. I ain't never been in a really big city before in all my life. Well, now.
What's the matter?
I'll bet you that big city of Denver ain't got no gals in as pretty as Hutton standing right over there. Reckon she's gonna be on the same train as us?
Better get the livery stable over to the team and wagon.
You mean get the team and wagon off the livery stable, don't you, Mr. Rockford?
Any way you want to do it, Tiny.
I reckon you will be getting the tickets, won't you?
I reckon.
Well, I can't believe my eyes, but it's true. Laura Cameron.
I believe you're mistaken, sir.
No mistake. Anybody who ever met Laura Cameron would never forget her.
It's very interesting, but I'm afraid it has nothing to do with me. I've never seen you before.
Correction. You've never met me before, but you've seen me. You don't have to be a millionaire to get into the country club in St. Louis. My name is Frank Harvey.
Well, I've never been in St. Louis. If you'll excuse me, I have to get back on the train.
Oh, just a minute. I'll go along with you. I want to talk to you.
Let go of my arm.
Oh, there you are, my dear. I was looking for you. I don't believe I met your friend.
Oh, well, he isn't a friend of mine, darling. He just mistook me for someone else.
Well, you can't blame him for trying, dear. You are lovely.
This is my seat.
Whose seat?
Mine.
Whose?
Oh, Lisa Caldwell.
Matt Rockford.
This is my traveling companion, Amy Howard. How do, young man?
Pleasure, ma'am.
I'm awfully glad you happened along when you did. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I didn't just happen along. I was watching you.
What for?
You sure you want me to tell you right now?
Well, maybe you better not right now.
About that fellow who was bothering you, I was just thinking maybe I should stick around close in case he tries again.
I don't think he will.
Oh. Well, I don't have my own seat yet. Maybe I could just...
Mr. Rockford, I got us a seat. Mr. Rockford.
Your friend is calling you.
He's no friend of mine.
We better get in our seats back there before somebody beats into us, Mr. Rockford. Hey, ain't that the same pretty little gal we was looking at outside a while ago? Beg pardon, ma'am. I didn't mean no offense. Did you get to meet her yet?
Yes, Tiny, I did.
Well, I reckon you wouldn't mind introducing me then, would you?
I reckon not. Miss Caldwell, Tiny Buttinger.
Mighty proud to make your acquaintance, ma'am. I figured the way Mr. Rockford was staring at you outside a while ago, he was going to get around talking to you. But I didn't figure it'd be this soon. Him being a bachelor the way he is, I always figured it was because he was sort of bashful around the pretty gals. But I reckon I sort of had him figured wrong, didn't I?
Tiny.
No, you mean Mr. Rockford has never had a girlfriend?
Not that I know of, ma'am, but then I ain't known him too long myself. Of course, there's Beth Purcell.
Tiny.
She runs a boarding house in Cimarron City. That's where we're from. Mr. Rockford here is the mayor of Cimarron City. I figure him and Miss Purcell are just good friends. Leastways, that's the way it appears to most folks.
Tiny.
You calling me Mr. Rockford?
Well, just like you said, maybe we'd better get back to those seats before somebody does get them.
Oh, yeah. I reckon we'll be seeing you later, ma'am.
No, I reckon.
Miss Caldwell?
I think he's delightful.
Yes, delightful. Tiny?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nothing. I was just wondering if the big city of Denver was quite ready for you.
Yes, sir. Me and Denver's going to get along real fine.
Yeah.
Folks, give me your attention up here. Everybody just sit tight in your seat and don't nobody go getting upset. We're bringing some prisoners in. They'll be riding all the way to Denver with you in this coach. Now, they'll be chained up good and tight in these seats right over here. So there ain't any need for any of you to worry about it. That's my job. I'm pretty good at it. All right, Barney, bring him in.
Mr. Rockford, that's Cleveland Buckley.
Which one?
The one there on the outside.
Do you know him?
Not personal, I don't.
Was he ever tied in with a Buttinger gang?
No, but there's friends. That Cleveland Buckley and his gang was just as famous, twice as mean as any of my brothers ever was. Never figured they'd get him alive. He sure is a non-recus.
Conductor, you deliver this note to one of the passengers for me?
Why, certainly.
What was that for, Tiny?
Well, I never did take a train ride before, Mr. Rockford. When it started up all of a sudden like that, I just got plumb excited.
What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. And it's about time.
What are you talking about, Amy?
You wouldn't try to fool me now, would you, Laura Cameron?
Call me that. I'm Lisa Caldwell.
Doesn't make any difference what I call you. You are still you. And I know you better than anybody else in the world. And I have never seen you look at another man like that, only when you were 11 years old and you fell in love with your music teacher.
In love?
Well, maybe not yet, but you're your father's daughter. And I never knew him to waste any time when he saw something that he wanted.
Amy, how many times do I have to tell you to quit running my life? I'm a big girl now.
You sure are. And you're not getting any younger. It's way past the time when you should have been married.
I'll get married when I want to get married, and that won't be until I see the right man.
That's what I've been saying, honey. And that look in your eyes tells me that you think you have just seen him. Not going to deny it, are you? Handsome scallywag, isn't he? Reminds me a little of your father when I first started housekeeping for him. And of course, you know everything you need to about him. He's a bachelor, mayor of a town.
What happens, Amy, if he wants to know everything about me?
Ah, nonsense. The only thing he has to know about you is that your name is Lisa Caldwell. You can tell him you're from New York, and that you're on your way to Denver.
Should I tell him why I'm on my way to Denver? Because I'm wanted for murder in St. Louis.
Of course. No. You just tell him you're on your way to Denver because you're going there to get married. That's it. You tell him you're on your way to meet your betrothed, And you'll be surprised how much faster he'll work.
Pardon me, ma'am. The gentleman just asked me to give you this.
Thank you.
What is it? What's the matter, child?
You might as well give up your plans about getting me married, Amy. The man I'd want wouldn't settle for a life of running and hiding, and it's beginning to look like that's what my life will be.
Is this the man that talked to you back there at the station?
I guess there's no trying to fool him.
But who is he? What does he want?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Well, I reckon the further north we get, the colder it'll get, don't you, Mr. Rockford?
I sure hope not.
This threat.
Are you ready to admit that you're Laura Cameron?
I'll admit nothing to you.
You already have by coming here to meet me.
Why is it so important to you that I might be Laura Cameron?
I want you to do something for me.
What?
I want you to lose this money in a poker game. $5,000.
Are you out of your mind?
I owe this to a certain gentleman, but for reasons of my own, it might be embarrassing if I was seen simply giving it to him.
Well, you're simply going to give it to me. What's the difference?
Nobody would question my meeting a pretty girl out here, but it's inadvisable that this man and I be seen together at all. Besides, he insists that there be no witnesses to anything but a streak of luck for him in a poker game.
You'll have to find someone else. I've given up playing poker.
Laura Cameron, the queen of the most exclusive poker games in St. Louis?
You know so much about me, you should also know why.
We're a long way from St. Louis. Nobody aboard this train would recognize your style.
Nobody's going to get the chance.
Now, just a minute. You didn't understand me. You haven't any choice in this matter. You're going to play just one more game of poker before you retire from your profession. Or you retire for good in the hands of the St. Louis police.
What's the man's name?
Martin Benedict.
How will I know him?
By a badge he's wearing on his vest.
A badge? A marshal's badge? This has something to do with those prisoners.
Oh, but this has nothing to do with you. You're not to be concerned about this.
I'm innocent of that crime in St. Louis. If I do what you're asking, I'd be guilty of bribing a law officer.
But you'd still be free. That's better than being convicted for something you're innocent of. And remember, just one of those marshals is dishonest. The other one would still be glad to know about you.
Here she comes, Mr. Rockford.
Oh, Miss Caldwell. I was hoping to see you in here. Is he bothering you again?
Oh, well, no, he wasn't mistaken. He does know me. Mr. Harvey, Mr. Rockford, and,
Buttinger, ma'am, but everybody just calls me Tiny.
Tiny?
If your friend doesn't mind, I'd like to invite you to sit at a table with me.
Oh, thank you, I don't drink.
Well, how about something to eat, then? There's some delicious turkey and ham here.
I'm not hungry.
How about just some plain conversation, then?
Please, leave me alone.
I can't blame you for trying, Mr. Rockford. She is lovely. Benedict, give me a cigarette. What's the matter, Marshal? You nervous?
Sure ain't no way to figure this, Mr. Rock.
Who?
Women. Wonder how come that Miss Caldwell pulled a switch on you the way she did?
I don't know.
Telling you to please not bother all of a sudden after being so friendly acting. Sure would give a heap to know what's itching her.
Yes, so would I.
I don't reckon we're going to find out sitting here, are we?
Nope.
Well, I reckon one of us is just going to have to get up and go over there and ask her, ain't we?
Yep. I don't know what I'd do without you, Tiny. May I, sit down?
Well,
Thank you.
Mr. Rockford,
A little while ago, when I told you I wanted to talk to you, Miss Caldwell, you asked me to leave you alone. Now, I'm sure you had a good reason for that, and if you did, I'd be glad to hear what it is.
you're very presumptuous.
Well, I guess I am. But I still want that conversation with you. And I had the feeling that you did, too, until something changed your mind.
Well, I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong impression.
Oh, which time? When you acted like you wanted to be friends, or when you told me to leave you alone?
I'd rather not discuss it.
All right, then we'll discuss something else.
Why is it so important that we discuss anything?
Well, now, that's about the only way I know of to get better acquainted. We certainly can't do it with you sitting here and me sitting way over there.
There's a good chance you'd find that getting better acquainted with me would be a dismal waste of time, Mr. Rockford.
Now, that's not true, and you know it.
Amy, stay out of this.
What she means, Mr. Rockford, is that she's on her way to Denver to be married.
Oh?
Amy.
And I will tell you the truth. I think she is making the biggest mistake of her life. Now, you know I never did like him. And I always did say you never gave yourself a chance to get acquainted with the right sort of men. Living that sheltered life in New York in those private schools the way you did. Get out and see the world, I said. But would she listen? Oh, no. Said yes to the first man who asked her.
What was the matter with him?
Nothing. That's the trouble. He's a perfect gentleman. Very rich and very dull.
Is she in love with him?
Well, I don't see how she could be. A dull fellow like that, no spark, no get up and go. Inherited all his money, you know.
Oh. Seems such a waste. I wish I could help. Hey, maybe I can. Even though she's betrothed to another man, I certainly would like to try to brighten some of the long hours between here and Denver. Properly chaperoned, of course.
Oh, of course.
Suppose we start with supper tonight. When the train stops at Redfield, I'd like her to be my guest at the Harvey house.
That's a date, Mr. Rockford.
Matt.
Matt. And you please call me Amy.
Well, thank you, Amy. And I'm sure this is the beginning of a very, very long friendship.
It's a long way to Denver.
Yes, it sure is. Oh, I certainly enjoyed our little talk, Miss Caldwell. Good day.
Amy Howard, you're a scoundrel.
It's a good thing for you, I am. My goodness, he is so like your father, it's frightening.
For whom?
For you. Because you're not going to be able to resist him. Oh, honey, forget about your problems. Work them out when you come to them, not until.
Would I dare?
You have to dare. If you don't, you'll never forgive yourself. I know.
You know.
Why do you think I was your father's housekeeper for 20 years? He was the only man for me. But I didn't have the nerve to go after him when I had the chance.
Well, you kept house for him all those years just to be near him?
And to bring up his daughter as my own.
It sure was a fine supper, Mr. Rockford.
Well, now, how would they know, Tiny? They were so busy talking, they hardly touched a bite, either one of them.
has been so much fun. Thank you.
I certainly enjoyed our little talk, Miss Caldwell.
You and Amy, I think you're a couple of conspirators.
You know, I think you're absolutely right.
Between the two of you, I haven't got a chance.
You sure you want one? See you tomorrow. Early. Breakfast. Good night, Lisa.
Good night, Matt.
2 more fruit punches, if you please, Sam.
Yes, sir. Will those be plain again? With nothing in them?
That's right. 2 plain fruit punches.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you have him put something in yours if you want to? Just because I don't drink doesn't mean you can't.
Well, no, I wouldn't think of it. I've seen young ladies faint dead away from just a whiff of the stuff.
Oh, don't be silly. I'm sure it wouldn't bother me that far away.
Well, now, don't you be silly. I don't intend sitting that far away much longer.
There was a family dwelling, made every youth cry well a day. Her name was Barbara Allen. All in the merry month of May, when green buds were sent his man to her then, in the town where she was dwelling. You must come to my master dear, in Scarlet Town, where I was born. There was a family made every youth cry well a day. Her name was Barbara Allen. Come to town, get out of the way for old Nantucket. Too late to get your supper. Supper's over, dinner's cooking, and old Nantucket just stands there looking.
Old Nantucket. Getting into the Rocky Mountains, Benedict.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Billy goes jump road, Nantucket, right straddle stump. Get out of the way for old Nantucket.
Keep an eye on him, Barney. I'm going to stretch my legs for a while.
Sure, Mart. Have one for me. Old Nantucket's a fine old man, and he washed his face with a frying pan. Then he combed his hair with a wagon wheel. Run away with a toothache in his heel. Get out of the way for old Nantucket. Too late to get your supper. So hop's over, dinner's cooking. Old Nantucket just stands there looking.
Please.
I'd like to help you out of this, but I can't. Your presence aboard this train has solved a big problem for me.
Well, if I hadn't been here, you would have found another way.
But you are. It's a lucky break for me. I never argue with luck.
Please don't make me do this.
I expected you'd try to beg off now that you've found another reason.
Another reason?
Well, I can't blame you for not wanting your boyfriend to find out that you're a professional gambler instead of the sweet young thing he thinks you are.
You're enjoying this, aren't you? You don't care how many people you hurt.
Not as long as I get what I want. Then I will, unless you want Mr. Rockford to find out the whole truth about you. I'll tell you what. Why don't you have your traveling companion keep him in the other car? Maybe you can get your job done before he even sees you at the poker table. And you'd better hurry. I'll give you just 15 minutes to get back to your seat, make your arrangements, and be in that poker game.
I'll see that 500. You're called, Mr. Benedict.
Kings over jacks.
That beats me again, Marshal. Keep this up, you'll be able to hang up your badge and retire.
Yeah.
I think I'll go see if I can find
Oh,
Lisa.
no, you don't. Not when I'm beating you.
Well, she has been gone a long time, you know.
Stop worrying. She's a big girl.
Yeah, well, I'll just take a look around.
Matt, I guess I'm going to have to tell you the truth.
What truth?
Well, when you get to know Lisa better, you'll find out that there are times when she just wants to be alone. Now, that's nothing against you. It's simply that when she has a problem, she likes to take a walk and think it through by herself.
She has a problem?
Well, of course she has. A few days ago, she was going to marry a young man in Denver. I wouldn't be at all surprised for what she's standing out there on that observation platform, thinking how she's going to tell that young man that she's changed her mind.
I see.
And you must admit that you haven't given her very much time to think about anything else. Except you.
No, I guess I haven't at that.
All right. Your move.
Huh? Oh. Now, Amy girl, I'm going to teach you who is the boss of this game.
That'll be the day.
Aces full of eights.
Where are you going?
Lisa's still standing outside. She must be half froze to death by now. I'll give her something nice and warm.
No, now wait, Matt.
Now, look, I won't bother her thinking none. I'll just give her the blanket and be right back.
No, wait. Matt? He was...
Looks like those private schools taught her something she could use after all.
Well, playing poker isn't such a terrible thing.
No, I guess not. But why did she think she had to lie to me?
No, I'm the one, Matt. I'm the liar.
She lets you do it. When she gets through, tell her I want to see her.
You must go and talk to him, child. He's waiting for you. He loves you enough to understand a lot of things. You can't just sit here and eat your heart out.
There's been enough talk already. I never should have let it get started.
Well, that's my fault, I'm afraid.
Nothing's your fault, Amy. I brought this all on myself. Do you know I've never really thought of anyone but myself before? I've been sitting here thinking about all the mistakes I've made. Turning professional gambler when Dad died. Just because I was so used to living well, I didn't want to give it up. And running from St. Louis when I should have stayed and faced a murder trial. I tried to cover one mistake with another. Oh, whatever made me think I could hide what I am from a man like Matt? Did I really think I could do Frank Harvey's dirty work at the poker table and not get found out?
Oh, darling, don't torture yourself.
Do you realize I never gave a thought to how this might hurt Matt? Or what the consequences would be of bribing the Marshal? Why, if those prisoners get loose and they're dangerous, Amy. If one of them gets it done, somebody could get hurt or killed. I've got to do something. I've got to tell somebody.
Matt, tell Matt. He'll know what to do.
Now. Get your partner over here.
Quick. Barney, come here a minute.
Stand still. Sit down.
Bend over to pick up the harp.
Open it. Hurry up.
I have nothing to say to you. Get out of my way. right.
I'm telling you now, go back to your seat.
I'm going to talk to Mr. Rockford.
What about? You're going to confess all? Now that he's manager, you're going to tell him the whole story?
Let go of me.
Now, young lady, you and I have another little talk.
Now, there's something more important. I think the prisoners are planning an escape.
What makes you think so?
The poker game was a cover-up to pay off the Marshal. I'm the one who did it.
You're just full of little surprises, aren't you?
Oh, Matt, please, you must believe her. She's telling you the truth. He's in on it, too. He forced her to do it.
Who else knows about this?
Nobody.
We've got guns in our luggage. If he comes to, put him back to sleep again. By the way, which Marshal took the bribe?
You boys have been a big help. Both of you.
I guess it's too late.
These two men got paid to risk their hides. You people don't. So nobody tries to be a hero, and we won't have to waste any buckshot. Ben, you and Johnny get it uncoupled. Hurry up. If we get over the top of the mountain before we cut loose, it won't do any good. Johnny, I want you to work this brake. Bring us to a stop and make sure we don't coast back down too fast.
You happen to have a gun back here?
A gun?
I think the prisoners have escaped. I'll need a gun.
If I had a gun, I wouldn't know what to do with it, sir.
They cut the car loose. It's going backwards.
What do you think, Mr. Walk?
I don't know.
All right, everybody. Move down here. Come on. Veteran. Ben, see what they're carrying. Dave, find out his story.
I told you there wasn't anything that we could do about backing that train down and then going after the car. We haven't got enough sand to bring it to a full stop, and then back all the way up the hill again.
Have yourself a seat, friend.
Yes, sir.
They're all clean, Clegg. Didn't even find a hat print on them. If I'd known you folks were in here, I'd have put you on another car. But I didn't. So now it looks like you're just going to have to be late to wherever you're going. Don't worry about it, though. Nobody gives me any trouble, nobody gets hurt. Of course, the first one does give me trouble gets a belly full of buckshot. Now, all of you find a place to sit while we take a little ride back down the mountain. Mister, I don't like to repeat myself. I guess you don't understand, Mr. Buckley. I'm not with them. I suppose you tell me who you are with. You. I made your escape possible. My name is Frank Harvey. Never heard of you. I realize we've never met, but I was hired by your brother Sam to pay off Marshal Benedict. How do I know that? Why, I paid him the money right here on the train. Right at that poker table back there. Ask her, Laura Cameron, a professional gambler from St. Louis. I got her to lose the money to Benedict in the poker game. What about it, miss?
Why should I help you?
Well, now. That didn't prove one thing, did it?
Oh, come on now, Clayton. You know I'm on your side. I'm your friend.
Never could stand an apple polisher who'd call me by my first name before I told him to. Besides, you can't really trust a man to bribe a law officer. Oh, dump him. Oh, and one of you stay out on the platform, keep an eye open for the boys that hate to coast by where they're supposed to meet us.
Hey, Ben.
Well, come on, everybody, relax. Make yourselves at home. You can talk if you want to. Just don't make any fast moves. You eat the ham.
I had a knife inside of that bird. I plan on using it the first chance I got.
I hope he don't go for dressing.
I was worried about keeping the boss waiting. But he sure ain't worrying none about us.
Just keep your shirt on. Buckley ain't never made no plan yet that didn't go off like clockwork. That car will be coming down that mountain any minute now.
There she is now.
That ain't no train. The snow's been cutting loose like crazy around here. And this time she ain't fooling.
The whole mountain's letting go. It's coming right down top of us. Let's get the horses.
Ain't time, run!
What are you doing? Letting this thing run wild? Don't you know we're going down a mountain?
You got a break here, too. Just figured I could see better from this than what I was doing.
Well, slow her down then. We're going too fast. Old Aunt Tucker come to town, riding a billy goat leading the hound. And the hound barked and the billy goat jumped and they threw Dan Tucker at straddle stump. Say, get out of the way for old Aunt Tucker. Sure is a good looker, ain't she? You reckon she's sweet on that fella she's sitting with? Who cares? Too late, eat your supper, supper's over, dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker just stands there looking. Old Dan Tucker come to town, riding a billy goat leading the hound. And the hound barked and the billy goat jumped and threw Dan Tucker out straddle stump.
I guess you might as well know what we're up against. Where you stand, where we stand. A couple of friends of mine were supposed to meet us down the track a ways with some provisions and horses, but the boys had to stop this car before we got to them. You see, there's a pile of snow laying across the track ahead of us about 35, 40 foot deep. Now, I figure my friends are going to run into that snow, too. And it's going to take them some time to climb over, seeing as they'll have to do it afoot. But if they make it, they show us a way out of here, you folks got nothing to worry about. You just sit tight. You wait for the railroad to send a special train down here to pick you up. Of course, the only trouble with that is the railroad and the law are going to figure on trying to catch us, and they're going to come with guns. If that happens before my friends get here, we'll start shooting, and I reckon we'll have to start with you folks. It's nothing personal, but we can't take a chance on having you interfere with us. Well, that's all. I just wanted you to know how things stand.
Ain't no sign of them, Clay.
Yeah, we figured they'd have built a fire so we could see them. There ain't a fight around. We even got on top of the car and had a look.
Yeah, they must have got lost, or maybe something happened to them.
Maybe we just ought to light out, huh?
On foot, we wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, and it's snowing harder now, too.
What do you think we ought to do? Clayton, what do you think we ought to do?
I think you ought to pour me a drink and go sit down. We got plenty of time.
All right.
Lisa. We got a date for a little conversation, remember?
You didn't ask anybody if you could move over there.
I didn't know that was one of the rules.
You move again without asking, you won't have to worry about rules.
Conversation seems rather pointless now, doesn't it, in view of this?
Well, I don't know. We're not dead yet. In case we do come out of this alive, I think we ought to know where we stand.
I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't want to hurt you. I suppose it's just as well you learned about me before it was too late.
Chances are it's already too late. And besides, I didn't learn very much about you at all. You play a good game of poker, I know that. You know, that might come in very handy these cold winter evenings. I like the game myself. Come on now. We've still got some time. I want to know all there is to know about you.
My name is Laura Cameron. I've never even seen the outside of a private school in New York. And there isn't any young man in Denver. I'm from St. Louis.
I'll believe everything about you but your name. To me, it's still Lisa Caldwell. Go on.
My father died because he was a gambler. Oh, he was a highly respected banker, but what few people knew was that he became owner of the bank because he was a professional with a deck of cards. And 15 years later, he lost it exactly the same way. And because he couldn't face up to it, he took his own life.
He taught you the game?
Every trick in the book. He used to take me to the private clubs where he played poker. I was the only woman allowed in the game because, well, as Dad said, I played poker like a man.
And when he died, that was the only way you knew of to make a living, is that it?
No, but it was the easiest way. My friends were among the wealthiest men in St. Louis. And the only difference was that I won more often because I had to.
This fellow Harvey, was he one of the victims?
No, he was just... Let's just forget about it, shall we?
No. No, I don't want to forget about it. I have a right to know.
Why?
Because you let me fall in love with you. Is there a better right than that?
I'm sorry, Matt, I shouldn't have.
I'll be the judge of that.
All right, then, judge this. You say you love me, that means you'd be willing to marry me? Take me back to your town of Cimarron City? Well, where would you hide me? You'd have to, you know, because you, the mayor, would be married to an accused murderess. Is that enough, or do you want more?
Yes, there's one other thing.
About Frank Harvey? Yes, he knew about that. He threatened to turn me in unless I worked for him. Otherwise, you might never have known I knew the difference between an ace and a deuce. I'm a pretty good liar, too.
Are you through?
I'm through. We're through. We were through before we started.
Stop it, Lisa.
Any other questions?
Yes. Are you guilty of murder?
I killed him, yes. He attacked me. My honor was at stake. Isn't that a laugh? Would you say that the honor of Laura Cameron, alias Lisa Caldwell, professional gambler, and who knows what else, is worthy of killing to defend? Well, if so, then I'm falsely accused. I'm innocent. I'm the innocent Laura Cameron. Why don't you laugh?
When a man is in love, he very seldom laughs about it. He may have a pain he can't locate. He may lose his appetite, or he may have a strange feeling in the pit of his stomach. But he very seldom laughs about the fact that he's stuck on a girl and he can't do anything about it.
Is there anything I can say that will make you listen to reason?
I'm afraid nothing. I'm a very stubborn man, Lisa. I'm afraid that's one of the things you're going to have to put up with.
You're a fool. A stubborn, impossible fool.
You. Get away from the girl.
Why?
'Cause I got a shotgun, you haven't.
Don't provoke him, please.
Now you.
Come here. Leave her alone, Buckley. Nobody's bothering you.
She's bothering me. You keep your eyes open and you're going to find out just how much. Come here. You're just full of love tonight, ain't you?
Where are you going? Just stretching my legs?
Sit down. Now, back to us. You know, it just ain't right for a pretty girl like you to waste all her friendliness on one man. That's why I figure you ought to share some of that friendliness with me. Come on. Closer.
Stop him.
We can't help her if we're dead, and that's what we'd be if we make a wrong move.
Yeah, it's better. I wouldn't call that being very friendly.
Tiny, get up and knock me as close to that turkey as you can.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm going to give you a choice. Either you start being real friendly to me, or I'm going to shoot your boyfriend right in the middle. What do you think of that?
Like you said, Mr. Buckley. You have the shotgun, he doesn't.
I just did it to keep him from getting himself killed.
You're a real smart boy. Try and stay that way.
Yes, sir.
Let's get back to what we were doing.
To tell you the truth, I don't think it's worthwhile. How can any girl like a man who has no regard for himself?
What do you mean?
Well, it's perfectly obvious no girl ever looked your way twice, unless you threatened her life.
Who do you think you're talking to?
A man who never goes anywhere without a weapon. To make your living at the point of a gun is one thing, but to have to use force where feminine companionship is concerned must be very shameful to admit.
Shut up.
You don't have to admit it. Frankly, Mr. Buckley, I've never been kissed with more inexperience in my life.
Shut up.
Tell your boy to drop it, Buckley.
Do what he says.
I ain't gonna die for you, Clayton.
You're gonna die for yourself.
You shoot and I'll blow your head off.
Drop it. Can you watch the other two, Tiny?
I'm all right, Mr. Rock.
I'm gonna leave just enough life in you to hang, Buckley. But that's about all.
Matt.
Lisa, I'm sorry I had to put you through all this.
Matt, I'm going back to St. Louis.
Yes, and I'm going back with you.
No, dear. I have to do this alone.
No.
Please let me finish. A while ago, while I was facing that horrible man, I thought of so many things. I knew that a few days ago I would have taken the easy way out. I would have saved my own life because that's the way I was. Laura Cameron came first. But I didn't do that. I thought of the others. For the first time in my life, I had thought of someone else first. It gave me a wonderful feeling. I was proud to learn I could do such a thing. That's why you must understand why I want to go back and wipe the slate clean, start all over again. It's because I've known the love of a wonderful man. You've made me happy, Matt. Happy and proud. And clean. Always remember that.
Oh, Lisa.
Matt. Oh,
Lisa.
Kelly, take me back home.
Lisa. Amy was right. It was a long way to Denver, but it was a lot longer coming back to Cimarron City. I guess I was lucky to have something to come back to, like the office of mayor, my ranch, and my friends.